feel their pain. The truth is out. The case is closed. But our search for justice never slows.
Hey everyone, happy Monday. Happy Monday. I'm a little earlier than I usually am, but I had today off because I had an appointment I had to go to. So I decided to come live at 4. And I actually wasn't planning on doing a Betty live. However, she's decided to meddle into this new case of Daniela Mendiola. And she's already spewing her conspiracies, facts that may or may not be true, calling the, the assailant or, the perpetrator in this case, a drug addict, just lots of things. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to look into this case myself and I'm going to call her out because this is what she does. And we're going to take a look at about 15 minutes of her protest that she attended yesterday. And kudos to Daniela's family because they have really advocated for their daughter. They have held their own protests. They have, demanded justice. They've demanded that this man be held accountable for her death. And there was no reason for Betty to be there at all. And watching her, it was all a frickin' show. That's all it was. She kept coming back to her camera. The camera was directly on her. It's so disgusting to me. She doesn't give a shit about this girl. No way. And honestly, the only reason she's there is because Olivia has been covering this case for a little bit. There's no reason for her to be there at all. Right, Jilly. She can go there, but she can't drive to court. Right. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Daniela's case first, and then we're going to get into Betty, just so that we have a summary of the case. I don't want to mix Daniela's case too much with Betty because Betty is Betty. And in my opinion, Daniela deserves more respect than that. So I do plan on doing a separate live just on Daniela's case where we look even more deeply and thoroughly into all of this. Because I did look up the assailant's record. He is notorious for speeding. Actually, of his charges, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Out of 12 charges, 10 of them have to do with speeding. So we'll talk more about that, but I agree, Chopper. To be fair, she should not be touching any case. I agree. So just quickly, Grimace Sherry, thanks for being here. Ninja, love the title. I was having such a hard time with not only the thumbnail for this live, but also I always like having a quote, and I couldn't find anything that I liked. And then I saw this one. I said quotes about foolish people or quotes about fools, something like that. And this came up and I was like, oh my gosh, it's such a good quote. So that's where that came from. Hey, Tooth Fairy, I'm so sorry. I'm not having a good day. I have a brain injury, so I'll be laying here listening. Well, thanks for being here, and I hope you feel better soon. That doesn't sound like a good time at all. Sinner, thanks for being here. Victoria, Limey, good to see you. Tracy, Tessa Glow just woke up. Nice surprise. Yes, I hadn't planned on going live until I saw Betty's. Like, I think I watched maybe like 5 minutes of her live last night, and I was like, oh, heck no. Hey, SG. Oh, good chasing. I'll have to check it out. Thanks for letting me know. Hey, Corinne. Yeah, Olivia. I don't know why Olivia even deals with her. Like, I mean, and that's the other thing. Olivia was videotaping, obviously, but there were news cameras. So I'm like, there's got to be news coverage of this protest, right? I couldn't find anything. Nothing. So I'm not sure what news station or what media was there recording, but Betty made sure that she was in front of that camera the whole time. She sure did. She sure did. I agree. It is absurd. Oh gosh, it was less than an hour from you chasing. Seems to me she's trying to spread her slummy wings to a new horizon. I feel she's going to go, she's definitely going to go back, but I knew she had said the other day that she was going to be looking at 2 different cases. So this is one of them. I don't know what the other one is yet, but whatever it is, if she starts spewing misinformation, then I will definitely look at that as well. Hey, Deborah, how are you? She had a little money to burn, in my opinion. Possibly. She probably should save her money. She probably should save her money for her $30,000 legal fund or, her GoFundMe instead of, gallivanting all over the country as she does so well. Yeah, Limey, I agree. It was effery, most foul, the bullhorn, and it'll be a total shit show. And I mean, even, when Betty ran back to her camera to talk to her viewers, I mean, the family and, the other community members there, they were doing a fantastic job all on their own. And I mean, I'm sure they appreciated having someone with a bullhorn arrive. I don't know. But at one point she was told she couldn't use the bullhorn. And that was interesting to me. She used it for the first 5 minutes or so. And then she ran back to the camera to talk to, her viewers. And then when she went back later on, she had said, I can't use the bullhorn. So I thought that was interesting. I don't know who told her she couldn't, but somebody told her not to use it. Sunnyside, exactly. And we'll get into it. Yeah, chasing. I have, so the earliest speeding I have is 2009. And the most recent was February of 24. But it's very sporadic. 2012 was definitely a bad year. He had 3 speeding related charges. And then in 2008, he had possession of MJ charge. He was also in collections with Ford Credit, but that is civil, not criminal. So that I wrote down, but it's not necessarily related to this. The one thing that I don't know about North Carolina law, so hopefully, Chasing, you can answer this. They only had disposed cases. They didn't have active cases listed on the court website. So I was able to see the charge for the window tinting, but I couldn't see the charge for the hit and run. So I don't know, maybe I was looking in the wrong spot, but I didn't see anything about the hit and run that he's being charged with. Hey, SG. I've seen very few go to jail for this crime. And unfortunately, I mean, I thought of that, if he had used a weapon or, you know, something like that, he would be going to jail for a very long time. But because it was a vehicle, which in my opinion is still a deadly weapon, it's a lot less time. Hey, Angie, thanks for being here. Gerda, thanks for being here. Really, chasing? I found coverage of the protest, the first protest that the family did back in September, but I couldn't find anything with Betty yesterday. Maybe I used Daniela's name to search Google and nothing. Oh yeah, I heard her say that, chasing. She's like, local media is not even giving it the attention it needs. And I was like, looking it up, like the family has been very outspoken and they're the biggest advocate for their daughter. They do not need this lady at all. Not at all. She needs her internet ripped from her. Hey, Mary effin' Poppins, thanks for being here. And for some reason, StreamYard is showing that my internet connection is not great. So if I do get dropped, I will be back. My internet is saying my YouTube connection is fine. Everything's fine. StreamYard is obviously just being uncooperative for some reason. Yesterday, it kicked me off my stream. I might have to be looking into other streaming software. Hey, AP, she's a complete misinformation train wreck. I mean, she had some of the facts correct. I will give her that. But, you know, alluding to the fact that there's corruption, there is, you know, he should be charged with DWI, tampering with evidence, et cetera, et cetera. You know, I don't know. I wasn't there. So I'm just going by what I've been able to find online. Hey, Two Boys Mama, Jerry, crime scene photo. Right, Two Boys Mama. She owes a ton of fees to Sumner County. She hasn't paid, but she can go to North Carolina. Yep. Well, I mean, she probably is staying with Olivia, so she doesn't have to worry about spending money on hotels and things like that. Hey, Katie B. What do you mean the courts reported incorrectly? I mean, Katie, I looked up, I mean, they have him listed as Joshua Thomas Brown. And that's birth date 86. All right, so we're going to get into this. Rebel Soul, thanks for being here. Hey, Mac, thanks for being here. Who stated the wrong person's arrest record? Oh, in court. So in actual court, they stated the wrong person's arrest record. Wow. Interesting. Yeah, Jana, she did say she was in a hotel, and she's like, you know, we're dealing with hotel internet here. And the first thing I thought when I saw, I'm like, there's no way that's a hotel. And then she said it was a hotel, and I was like, oh, okay, maybe it is. Right. They stated in court that they got the wrong information, but I just went to the actual court website and looked up his name and birth date. Hey, crime scene photo. I looked up case 2 and said it was charged with felony hit and run. Yes, he was finally charged with that. All right, so let me add this. So I do have a video and then an article related to Daniela. And then we'll move into good old Bullhorn, America's most wanted tragedy pimp.
Well, happening now in Alamance County, a family is protesting after 17-year-old Daniela Trejo Mendiola was hit by a car and died. ABC 45's Elizabeth Ramirez spoke with the family today about what they want to see done.
Ashley, I'm here on Oak Grove Church Road where Daniela Trejo Mendiola lost her life 2 weeks ago. Now, if you look behind me on the ground, there's still some of her stuff scattered.
And so this part of the video, this actually gave me a much better understanding of what happened, because I did watch the video. Local media had spoken to Daniela's boyfriend's mom and a neighbor, and based on what they described, I wasn't getting a full picture of what happened, but this shows me Daniela ended up over here in this ditch where those flowers are. So this helped me see a little bit better what probably happened.
Well, happening now in Alamance County, a family is protesting after 17-year-old Daniela Trejo Mendiola was hit by a car and died. ABC 45's Elizabeth Ramirez spoke with the family today about what they want to see done.
Ashley, I'm here on Oak Grove Church Road where Daniela Trejo Mendiola lost her life 2 weeks ago. Now, if you look behind me on the ground, there's still some of her stuff scattered, like this sunscreen. And if we take a look, on the other side of the street is her memorial. That is where her body was found on August 20th.
Justice for Daniela! Justice for Daniela!
That is what the Mendiola family hopes to get.
It's very frustrating because we're supposed to be at home grieving her death and we're out here fighting for her.
The family says Mendiola was leaving her friend's house, walking down the driveway where another friend would pick her up. But instead, Mendiola was hit and killed that night. Now the voices of her family are being heard.
And so that's one discrepancy that I've seen between law enforcement and the family and friends, is that law enforcement had said that she was walking in the middle of the road, whereas her boyfriend's mom had said she was waiting at the end of the driveway for a ride. So details are definitely sketchy. Hey, Narcos, thanks for being here. Little Dove, hope you're doing well. Thanks for being here.
Heard through Court Square in Graham.
Narco, she's already involved.
It's really hard because no one has been arrested so far. There's no justice for her yet. We reached out to NC State Highway Patrol, but they said this accident is under investigation. But the family says the night of the scene, it seemed there was little investigation taking place. Since August 20th, the Mendolias have picked things up from the scene, like Mendolia's hair, nails, and teeth. It bothers me because they didn't give her the opportunity for someone to come and save her. They didn't call 911 like they were supposed to. The family also says this case is a hit and run. They said the driver left and came back 30 minutes after the accident in a different car. We haven't forgot. We're still standing and will continue to be strong. Reporting in Alamance County, Elizabeth Ramirez, ABC 45 News, standing up for you.
So in that news clip, Betty did say that her family had picked up, some of her belongings and some of Daniela. So, I don't know how they clean up accident scenes. I'm not, law enforcement. I would think that they would hopefully in their investigation look for things that may be left behind and to document those things to help reconstruct the accident. But that I don't know. So the next thing I have is just a statement from the Alamance County Sheriff's Office. This was dated September 5th, 2024, the same date as the video we just watched. And it reads, "Dear concerned individuals, the Alamance County Sheriff's Office shares your concerns and sympathy over the tragic death of Daniela Trejo Mendiola on August 20th, 2024 in Alamance County, North Carolina. As a result of her death, which occurred on a state highway, the North Carolina State Highway Patrol has original jurisdiction over the death investigation. During a thorough ongoing investigation by the North Carolina State Highway Patrol, Newfound information spawned a request for the North Carolina State Highway Patrol's Collision Reconstruction Unit to assist in the investigation. As a result, Joshua Thomas Brown, 38, was arrested and charged with 1 felony hit and run, 2 cited for a window tint violation. Brown voluntarily met with investigators on Wednesday, September 4th, and turned himself in. Joshua Thomas Brown received a $50,000 secured bond and is awaiting his first appearance in Alamance County Superior Court on Thursday, September 5th, 2024. Any questions about this case should be made to the North Carolina State Highway Patrol Office in Raleigh, North Carolina. Sincerely, Sheriff Terry S. Johnson. State highway, yes. So there's, interstates, and then you have state highways. So most of the state highways around where I am are 2-lane roads. But yeah, they're still called highways. I guess because before the interstates, they were, where most people traveled. AP, is his father really a retired trooper? There is speculation that he is. The next article that I have actually does address that question. That is a dark road. I don't see a driveway there. She probably wearing dark clothes. And if she was in the middle of the road, that's what law enforcement had said initially. And in the interview with the boyfriend's mom, you could see a driveway. It was kind of like a dirt road type driveway. Right. Ooh. Right, Jana. It is sad. Maybe he didn't see her. Well, and that's true. But it's not an excuse for leaving the scene. Absolutely. But this is probably going way back. But there was a case where there was someone who hit someone, and that someone went through their windshield. They freaked out, drove home, and they found said victim still in the windshield. Obviously, I can't speak to his state of mind, but I would be freaking out. I would stop and be freaking out and calling 911. But not everyone, some people get scared, and, he went to where his parents were and then came back in his parents' car. We're going to get to that, Chris. She did say that. She said if anyone has information to contact her directly. Yes. And no one should be contacting Betty with any information in regards to this case. Chasing that criminal record, the DA had it wrong. I didn't even listen to the DA in court. I just went to the website. So I went to, I don't have it up here because I was using my phone, but North Carolina something or other. Right. We don't know why she's protesting. I think she's protesting because she got like 35,000 views on that video of her protest. That's why she's doing it. Like, she wants to be a world famous YouTuber when she's just the most wanted, tragedy pimp. So his middle name isn't Thomas? Oh, car related, but years back. That's interesting because there was no other Thomas listed on the court website. Does the address on what you pulled? Give me 1 second. Because I just wrote down everything. I have the I downloaded all of them. Okay, so I'm just going to look at one of these quick. Graham, North Carolina. So I have, let me just share this. So this one, because I downloaded everything that showed up under Joshua Thomas Brown. And so this was, let me zoom in a little bit. This was one of them from February 23, and it has the address for him as Graham, North Carolina. For indecent liberties. See, I didn't even see that one on the site. This one's not him. Okay. What is the state? Or I'm sorry, what is the city that he's from? The one that did this. Is he from Liberty? And then I have one, Asheboro, North Carolina was the address. Thank you for that. Date of birth was... Wait, that's the wrong one. Where's the date of birth? All right, that one doesn't appear to show a date of birth. I mean, even if the prosecution got this wrong, like the court needs to do something. Let me just look at the other one that I had up here. And the date of birth could have been on the actual record on the, on the website. And I just downloaded all the PDFs of the court records. Yeah, they don't put date of birth on the court documents, it appears. Oh, did I stop? Oh, no, it is still sharing. Hey, little dove. I'm doing good. I hope you're doing well, too. I'm curious, do they know more or less the time that this probably occurred? It was... I wrote it down. No, I can't find it. It should be, I think it was around 9:30-ish. That's what time I have in my head. Okay, they have this. They have the same birthdays, different middle names, same cities at times. That's why it was confusing. DA messed up and corrected himself in court. Okay, so I was looking up the middle name Thomas. So I'm guessing that's probably the wrong name. Yes, and chasing, that's another thing that Betty is claiming, is that the state police, law enforcement in general, have changed the timeline to fit their narrative. I mean, that's a pretty hefty allegation there. Pretty hefty allegation. Oh, thank you, Liberty. All right, I'll go through and check. I would assume that the window tinting that was listed September 4th, 24, I mean, maybe that is a different Joshua Thomas Brown. But I will go through. Thank you for letting me know that. Yep, and I have watched the video, and you hear a collision with something. All right, so this article is from the Alamance News. So it says, Court Square demonstrators protest Highway Patrol's initial decision not to charge hit-and-run driver. Charges filed Wednesday afternoon. So again, this was September 5th. And I'm going to make it a little bigger. The slow moan of traffic in Court Square was briefly drowned out on Tuesday when a crush of demonstrators rallied on behalf of a teenager who was fatally struck by a motorist on the outskirts of Liberty 2 weeks ago. This pop-up protest raised quite a stir that afternoon with its demands of justice for Daniela Trejo Mendiola, whose death on August 20th had become a real cause célèbre for many Latinos in Alamance County. Aside from their grief over the 17-year-old's untimely fate, the participants in Tuesday's demonstration were also exasperated by the lack of criminal charges, which at that point had met the 38-year-old driver who ended her life. Trejo's supporters channeled their pent-up frustrations over this apparent miscarriage of justice into a boisterous chorus of "Lock him up" that ricocheted across Court Square on Tuesday. All right, thank you, KDB. So that one is probably the only one that was correct under his name on the site. The pleas of these protesters were apparently answered on Wednesday when the North Carolina Highway Patrol, which had previously been reticent to file criminal charges, formally lodged a felony charge against Josh Thomas Brown for his alleged role in Trejo's demise. According to an arrest warrant that the state agency filed that afternoon, the 38-year-old white male who hails from 8963B Pleasant Hill Church Road in Liberty had failed to remain at the scene of the accident until he received the all-clear to do so from law enforcement. Although Brown did return ahead of the state trooper who was sent to the site, his previous departure compelled the Highway Patrol to charge him with one count of felony-level hit-and-run, resulting in serious injury and death. Later that day, the Highway Patrol issued a news release that credited newfound information for the agency's about-face on the decision to file criminal charges. The news release added that Brown voluntarily went to the county jail to turn himself in at 5 p.m. on Wednesday and was charged with a, quote, window tint violation in addition to the aforementioned felony. According to the news release, Brown has been placed under a secured bond of $50,000. Brown's arrest for felony hit and run was still more than a day away when Trejo's supporters were pounding the proverbial pavement on Tuesday afternoon. But even then, the wheels of justice seemed to have started to move for the deceased teenager and her well-wishers. And her life was taken Forever 17. Shortly after Tuesday's demonstration, Brian Martin, a state trooper with the North Carolina Highway Patrol, told the Alamance News that his agency had just met with prosecutors about this case, which his agency had initially investigated without filing any charges against the driver. We just met with the DA's office at 2 p.m. today. After that meeting, everything we had, we turned over to the DA's office, and they'll determine whether to pursue charges. The Highway Patrol's aforementioned news release also alluded to this interagency confab, where the agency's collision reconstruction unit reportedly presented the DA's office with the newfound information that resulted in Brown's arrest on Wednesday. Martin was quite frugal with details about the collision when he spoke to the newspaper's reporter on Tuesday. The state trooper acknowledged that his agency had initially received a call about the pedestrian fatality at 9:45 p.m. on Tuesday, August 20th. He also pinned down the site of the accident as Oak Grove Church Road, a state-maintained route in southern Alamance County. The Highway Patrol's subsequent warrant fills in many of the particulars that Martin had kept close to the vest during his conversation with the Alamance News. According to the text of the warrant, State Trooper A.J. Lynch reached the scene of the accident at about 10:10 p.m. to find Brown waiting there with a vehicle that wasn't involved in the collision. The narrative goes on to identify the original vehicle as a Volkswagen passenger car, which had been heading north on Oak Grove Church Road when it struck a pedestrian. The Volkswagen passenger car then turned around and left the scene. Approximately 15 minutes later, the driver, Joshua Thomas Brown, arrived back at the scene in the passenger seat of a different vehicle. Once Trooper Lynch arrived on scene and questioned the driver, Brown stated that he thought that he hit a deer. He then drove the vehicle to his parents' house, assessed the damages on the vehicle, and decided to get his parents to drive him back to the scene because the damage did not appear to be from a deer. I mean, I feel like that's plausible. The Highway Patrol had previously offered a somewhat sanitized amount of this accident when it issued a news release in the immediate aftermath of the accident. According to this Piety communique, Trejo had been traveling as a pedestrian in the middle of the roadway when she collided with Brown's 2011 Volkswagen. The news release adds that Brown was unable to avoid the pedestrian who died on scene before it declares that Brown will not face charges for the collision. And that was an initial article that I saw in regards to this. All right, let me go over to chat quick. That's why he wasn't arrested. They gave him a breathalyzer and he returned before the police and waited for them. And so, and of course, Betty will hear she's running on this narrative that, he was drunk. He should be charged with DWI. He kicked her cell phone off the roadway. Things I'm wondering, how does she know? How does she know? Was she there? No, she was not. No, she was not. The state agency's subsequent accounts of the accident have confirmed some of the information that has been circulating in news outlets and on social media since Trejo's death. It also dispels some of apocryphal claims about the accident, including a rather persistent canard that the Office of Alamance County Sheriff had initially handled this investigation rather than the North Carolina Highway Patrol. I've got to say that this article is very well written. Very well written. There are words that I have not seen before. So after this live, I will be looking them up to get a literal definition. Other off-cited assertions remain up in the air. These include an understanding which prevailed among the participants in Tuesday's demonstration that the driver who struck Trejo is the son of a former state trooper. This particular claim seems to have been a source of some interest to Alamance County's District Attorney, Sean Boone. When contacted following his meeting on Tuesday with the Highway Patrol's representatives, Boone acknowledged that he was still waiting to get some information before proceeding any further with his own investigation. He went on to make an oblique admission about one outstanding item when the Alamance News asked him directly about the rumors of Brown's familial relationship with a former state trooper. "If you find that out," he said, "let me know." So, yeah, JD, well, some of those, it was really, really well written, very well written, but I agree. It's very, I think of, Shakespeare, very literature rich and just big words that I haven't ever seen before, but I will definitely be looking some of them up. The neighbor also lied and said she heard he's related to law enforcement, even though the DA said he wasn't. Yeah, and I deliberately chose not to show the one news clip where they interview the neighbor and the boyfriend's mom, because I've only seen the video of, the home surveillance camera that shows him driving down the road, and then moments later you hear this collision, like you hear two things collide. So I'm assuming that Betty is also talking to said neighbor, said, people who were interviewed on the news. Right, Sunnyside. I mean, although I don't really, and I don't know what I would do if I hit a deer. I probably would stop and look, and probably call 911, but I don't know, maybe people hit deers, or deer, I should say, deers is not a word, hit deer on the regular. I don't know. Everybody's different. I would be calling 911 because I would think maybe I hit something that wasn't a deer. Yeah, Sunny, we're going to get into that. Betty said a whole lot of things. Oh, no, mystery. This is Betty. This was my avatar is Betty. She was talking and someone in her chat said, "Why are you screaming?" Or "Why is this lady screaming?" And Betty saw it and she's like, "I'm not screaming." And then she's like, "This is screaming." Like she screamed, like it was ear piercing. And this was just part of, when she started to say, "This is screaming." It is deer season, yeah. Oh, really, Gray Wolf? Yeah, here we have where you have to call Ellie. Yeah, picking up roadkill is not legal here. Although people do it because it's a waste. It's a waste. Especially if, you can get food from it. Crime scene, that I don't know if Daniela had toxicology. And speaking of that, not paying attention, possibly. I mean, it was night. We hit a lot of deer in North Carolina. It's very dark at night. Yeah, it's dark here too. I hate driving at night. Hate it. Yeah. And I tend to, without having all of the information, the fact that he did come back, they said about 15 minutes later, so Betty said, and maybe she saw the police report, I don't know, but she stated that Daniela was alive for 43 minutes after she was hit. However, based on the arrest warrant, where we just learned some of what it said, it was reported that Joshua returned 15 minutes later. That would tell me that Daniela probably was no longer alive. Chasing, that could be. Maybe she thought it was her friend's car coming and accidentally hit her when she walked further out on the road, possibly. And I don't know the direction, because, based on where the reporter is, I don't know what direction was north versus south. So that's, another thing that would help me understand a little bit more. All right, so I'm way behind in chat. Oh, we're going to see it now, Chasing. We're going to see it now. So what I did, because her protest was an hour, I went through and just picked where she was on camera, because the protest, well, actually there is one little part where she's yelling things in her out of her bullhorn that I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't sound right. That doesn't sound right. And I said to Sinner earlier, because I was listening to some of her live from last night, which we will get to. Some of the details that Betty discusses are better left unsaid. Why would you want to repeat how someone was found in their last moments? I can never understand. To me, that is very sadistic. The fact that you're thinking about these things, that you are then repeating these things, I would think you'd want to, Betty would want everyone to remember Daniela for the beautiful girl she was. I couldn't believe, well, I shouldn't have been shocked because she's done it before. But I just found it so disrespectful. So disrespectful. Yeah, he claimed she was in the road. Her family says she was in a driveway, but the camera doesn't show where she was. Right. And it, to me, chasing, I mean, it showed most of the driveway, but there was like that, the left-hand side that was kind of cut off. So she wasn't in that part of the drive, and the driveway didn't seem very long, unless that's not the driveway she was standing in. I just assumed that was the driveway that, the family lived at, but I could be wrong. Crime scene, I don't know. That's what Betty says, and we're going to hear her say that. Her screaming about a park being closed. It's a tiny square with a historical clock. They've been protesting there. Geez. Yeah. Yeah, she is Sinner. She's a body hunter. It's freaking gross. And like, just, I was so disgusted today. So I do have my disclaimer on, viewer discretion advised, because good old Bets just, she doesn't think before she speaks, or maybe she does think about it and says, I'm going to say it anyways. Hey, Carrie, it's good to see you. It was so cool hearing your voice earlier. I was driving home from my appointment and listening. All right. Let's get to good old Bets. So this was yesterday after, I think it was the afternoon. It could be morning.
Hey guys, Bullhorn Betty here, reporting live from Graham in North Carolina. This is where Daniela Mendiola was hit. We have a lot of information about this case, but it sounds like somebody's trying to help the assailant in this case as opposed to the victim. The victim was a 17-year-old.
And so here she goes already. And I'm curious, and I don't know if Betty's probably not listening, but I'm sure some of her friends are. I'm curious if Betty had actually looked into this case at all before going. I would hope that she did, but to just automatically say, they're trying to help the assailant as opposed to the victim. I mean, they're going on what they know. And unfortunately, Daniela's not here to tell us her side of the story. That's why they have, accident reconstructionists, because they use what they know to deduce what was the most probable thing to happen. Ugh, I know, sweet one. That exactly. Oh, whoa, that just jumped really quick. Just like BHB to detail injuries and make her family relive the terrible details of the death of no heart for the family at all. And just watch how she acts in this video. I knew as soon as I watched just a couple of minutes, I'm like, she's doing this because she wants the attention. And I'm giving her attention, so she's getting what she wants. But she needs to be called out because it's disgusting. It's disgusting. Oh, she admits it. She said she didn't and wanted Olivia to brief her. See, I only watched the protest. I only watched like 5 minutes of the one from last night. So what a jerk. She is such a jerk.
17-year-old girl that was standing outside of her home. She was waiting, or not her home, a friend's home. She was waiting in the driveway, and then all of a sudden,
that explains, sorry, I didn't mean to pause her so quickly, but that explains why she kept saying that Daniela was 15 years old. How do you get that detail wrong? Even just getting briefed on a case, I would think remembering not only her name, but her age would be pretty simple to do. But no, Betty kept saying she was 15.
sudden, she was wiped off the face of this earth. And this family needs help advocating. We're out here in front of the courthouse right now, gearing up for a protest. And we just want to raise our voices for this beautiful family. This is a family that's not getting the airtime that they need through mainstream media, their local media. There's some hints.
And that's not true, because I only used one video and one news article that I found, but there are many, and several stations actually covered it, and multiple, print media was covering it.
Hints of corruption here that we're feeling when it comes to this case. It sounds like the man, the older man, 38-year-old Joshua Brown, may have some family in the legal department here, the law enforcement, what have you.
She has, see how she does it? She's like, oh, the legal department here, the la. What was it again? I can't remember. Like, Betty, where are your notes that you usually write?
And it feels like they're covering it up a little bit. It took over 15 days or longer for this man to even be arrested. They did not take his blood at the scene. He's been known to speed. He's been known to utilize different types of substances. And
so this is where, so even with me looking up, going to the court website and getting the wrong records for someone with the same name, nothing was listed about problems with substances. Not at all. Even if the person I looked up was this man, it was speeding. That was it. Nothing about speeding with, under the influence, driving under the influence, while ability impaired, nothing. So where does she get this information? Where? Because even looking at the court website, I didn't get that information even with the wrong person. And Chasing, if you're still here, what was it, just traffic issues that this guy had before this? It was just like traffic infractions. Okay, so that was him, Chasing. So the 2009, the possession was him. Okay, because I do have that one on my list, and that was in 2008. So I mean, that was a long time ago. Oh, thank you. Sinner did let me know, and I forgot that quick. All right, let me... Thank you. Wow, I like how you were able to get screenshots like this. Mine opened up PDF files. Okay, so it looks like... Speeding. Okay, so that was one. That was 2009. You have the drug charge in 2008. And it looks like he got the speeding charge reduced. It says lesser charge, responsible to lesser. Oh, yeah, possession. Oh, so that was it. Possession and speeding. And the possession was in 2008. So, I mean, he hasn't had any issues for years.
We just really want to raise our voice for this young man, this young girl, and advocate for this man to be in jail and to be charged appropriately, because he left the scene of a crime. He came back.
He was charged with felony hit and run. I mean,
in a secondary vehicle. And you want to know, it begs the question as to why he would leave the scene, why he didn't stop.
Maybe because he was freaking scared. Maybe because he thought he hit a deer because he's done it before. It probably sounded like a deer. I don't know. I've never hit a deer, knock on wood. I've come close, but I've never actually hit one. And so when he got home to inspect the damage, he said, I don't think I hit a deer. So he had his parents bring him back to the scene. He didn't have to go back to the scene. To me, that shows that he was afraid. He was afraid that he hit someone or something other than a deer. And that's just my opinion because I don't know, I don't know his thinking process. I don't know this man. But I can, give credit for him going back.
Stop and render aid. It sounds like she was alive for quite a little bit of time prior to her succumbing to her injuries. Could she have been saved? We don't know because of the actions of this man, Joshua Brown, 38 years old. That sounds like he shouldn't even have been behind the wheel of a vehicle to begin with. So that's where we are. I'm going to flip this camera around so you guys.
So she probably got the same information as me, which, people speed. And yeah, even if it was this person who had all these speeding charges, people speed. Today, I had to take the interstate to my appointment, and if I didn't want to get hit or run off the road, I had to go 75 to 80 miles an hour in a 65. Well, actually, in a 55. Because I looked at my speedometer, I'm like, oh crap, I'm going way over the speed limit. But if I don't go with traffic, I'm going to end up, getting run off the road or hit. So, Betty speeds all the time. So who cares? I don't think Betty should be behind the wheel of a car because not only does she speed, but she live streams while driving, reads the chat while driving, doesn't really pay attention. It brings me back to when she had a laptop, her phone, a whole, what is it called? But a huge thing of coffee. I can't think of what it's called. It's like those big, it's like a pitcher, but it's not called a pitcher. I'm not sure what it is. She's highly distracted while driving. If anyone shouldn't be driving, it's her.
You guys can get a lay of the land. We've got news organizations here. We've got the family. We're going to be filling out today with more people as more people leave church and start making their way up here. I am here with Chronicles of Olivia.
Hi guys, long time no see.
Yep, and we're here with this.
They have shirts. I wonder if Sonia made those shirts or possibly the family had those shirts made because those shirts actually look really nice, actually. No shade to you or the DA, but in court, it's clear there is another person with a record. It's cleared up, and that's how I knew those weren't him. Yeah, and thank you for being here, Chasing, and letting me know. Because just looking at, I didn't know that there was someone with the same birthday as him. And all of the records I looked at said Joshua Thomas Brown. Because I made sure to put the middle name Thomas in so that I only got his records with that middle name. But yeah, I do appreciate it. Right. That all happened over a month ago. So if she's protesting, why didn't she know this already? Well, yeah. In defense of my speeding, one direction of road is 35 miles per hour. Other direction is 25. What? One direction is 35. One is 25. Is it like an incline or decline? That's bizarre. I don't think I've ever seen that. Or they just never changed the sign on the other side of the road. Maybe they changed the speed limit and they forgot to change the other sign. Hey, Play Nice. How are you? You should always get permission from the court and notify your bail bonds agency before traveling. Leaving without permission is a violation of your bail and could result in your arrest and bail. Tennessee. Does Betty know you can Google info on cases before you open your mouth and say whatever comes to mind? Yes, but oh my gosh. BHB is also driving distracted from all the other personalities talking in her head. Yes, as she calls it, the board of directors. And I do have a clip of her saying just that the voices, the voices in her head, she calls the board of directors, and they make all of the decisions for her.
Family, again, that's been underserved by their law enforcement, underserved by their local media, and underserved with
Thank you,
justice
Deborah.
for their daughter. And that's what we're advocating for here today. I hope you guys support this cause, and I hope you guys learn a little bit about her story. She was a beautiful 17-year-old girl, just like every teenager, probably has some problems, defiant, what have you. It sounds like mom didn't know she was at her boyfriend's house and she was leaving to head home before she was killed. They did not.
Betty, have you ever heard that you shouldn't speak ill of the dead? Asking for a few friends, as you say. Who cares if she was rebellious? Who cares if she was at her boyfriend's house without her parents knowing? This poor girl lost her life. That's what's important. And Lisa, thank you so much. Where did that go? Being a member for 17 months. We see you, Betty. We see you. And also, Deborah, thank you so much for being a member. I do appreciate that. Welcome to the Stoners. Thank you, Chasing. To be fair, you just started looking. She is down there. She should absolutely have every single fact. Yeah. But I also, I pride myself in doing, diligent research, and I didn't realize there was someone with the same birthday and same name. So, I mean, I don't feel as bad considering the DA got it wrong too. I'm confused. See, Lisa, I asked the same thing. I understand the family feels that more based on, because I did watch one of Olivia's TikTok videos. She is saying that he should be charged with vehicular manslaughter, but I did look up the laws in North Carolina on vehicular homicide, and most of the charges have to do with being impaired while driving. There was one felony charge that did not require the driver to be impaired, but he didn't do it on purpose. And I don't know, I don't think the time, the sentencing time was much different between felony hit and run and vehicular homicide with those two things. There is no money for exploiters in an open shut case. Right. But she's making it seem like there's, all of this corruption and, yeah. Hey, Brantley, how are you? Good to see you. I don't care about her except for the people she actively tries to destroy. Right. Yep. And I'm so sorry that this family had to have her show up, because you know what she did? I mean, I will say, I'll give Betty this. If not for Betty, I would not have known about Daniela. However, she's making it all about her. It's not about the family. And then, this is just a side note, she said that she was going to take a trip to Swannanoa, North Carolina, where they were dramatically affected by Hurricane Helene. And, pretty much the entire town was wiped out. And she said that she would upload videos later. Why? Why do you want to exploit people who have lost everything for clicks and views? It's so disgusting. Like, there are videos all over TikTok, all over YouTube, Facebook, of people who actually live there. if you need to see what happened and what people are going through, go to those people, not Betty. I mean, she said that, and I was like, you've got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. But that's Betty. That's Betty. That's what I thought. Chasing. She's calling the town. She's standing in Corrupt, but she wasn't even killed in that town. It was 30 minutes away. Because Betty's in Graham right now, and Daniela was killed in Liberty, correct? Or do I have it backwards or completely wrong? True Center. I mean, Olivia was already there, and she has somewhere free to stay.
Clean the crime scene appropriately or take care of the crime scene appropriately. Her nails were there. And guys, this is going to be a little bit shocking. Trigger warning.
So this is where, and I will say this is a trigger warning, because why does Betty need, okay, so I was correct in that, Chasing. Phew. I was correct in that. Okay. Right. So Liberty, and she's in Graham right now. So this is where she tells details that are better left unsaid. Better left unsaid. And she did the same thing on her live last night. It's so repulsive to me that she would speak about someone who lost their life in this way. Yeah, Chase, it's the next part, it's disgusting.
Warning, so was her teeth. Her father had to pick up her tooth off the side of the road. That is something that no parent should ever have to do when law enforcement clears a crime scene. We have a lot of questions.
I don't even have words.
Related to how they treated this case from the very beginning. Again, no blood taken. He was not required to go to the hospital after a casualty. So let me flip this around, show you where we're at, show you this beautiful area. So this is downtown. Are we downtown Graham or Liberty?
Graham.
We're downtown.
She doesn't even know where the heck she is. Betty. Oh my God.
On Graham. And as you can see, we're just getting started. We've got the family here of Daniela. And we're going to be raising our voices here, raising our voices to the corruption, raising our voice to demand justice for this young girl that was just waiting for a ride before her life came to a tragic end. And it's possible and probable that the man that hit her was under the influence of alcohol.
No, he wasn't. Oh my God. 1 second. Sorry. Had to turn the light on. The sun's starting to go down already. Sucks. But don't forget, we turn the clocks back in a couple weeks. Well, at least on the East Coast.
We also believe that he may have actually tampered with evidence. We've heard from witnesses that they saw him kicking her cell phone off the road.
So this is where... So witnesses saw this happen. Is that what she's saying? That people saw Daniela get hit. What? And they saw him. So that would mean he got out of his car and then kicked her cell phone off the road. Right. Because that's what he was concerned with, is that there was a cell phone in the road. Hey, Kim, that she is. She is just sick. Yes, and I try to be as fact-based as I can, and, sometimes I get it wrong, but I'm not ashamed to admit when I'm wrong, because when we know better, we do better.
Road. There is a possibility because him and what we perceive to be his parents came back to the scene of the crime. And again, what took them so long to call law enforcement? Why wasn't law enforcement called by Joshua that evening? These are all the questions.
Oh my God. This part, I think this is the part where I was like, Betty, are you freaking serious? So she talks about Joshua calling 911, right? Listen to what she says next.
We have that nobody seems to answer. And why is law enforcement, once again, this is another case where law enforcement is not telling the public or the family whether or not this boy is father or family is part of law enforcement, because there's got to be a reason they let him leave the scene. There's got to be a reason why they didn't follow proper protocol in a
now she's an expert in, you know, accident reconstruction. You know, what's the proper protocol, Betty? What is it? Do you know? I mean, they called in the state police. So, I mean, are you now saying that the state police, you know, didn't do their due diligence?
A homicide, or excuse me, vehicular death that resulted in a casualty. I don't know. We're here. We're going to be advocating.
Yeah,
I hope you guys join for the ride. Please, I'm going to be trying to monitor the chat as much as I can, but please talk amongst yourself, guys. This is what I need you to do. Her name is Daniela Mendiola. I need you to start going through this and start throwing information into the chat that you hear about this case. If you guys have any information or know this family at all, please immediately reach out to bullhornbetty@gmail.com, bullhornbetty@gmail.com.
No, do not reach out to this woman, because she will harass them. She's already making up things about them that haven't been verified. No one should be emailing her any information.
And send me your leads, tips, and information. We're going to be we're going to be starting this process here in just a few. So just bear with us. It's a little cold out here for this Florida girl. So just bear with me. We'll be back.
I agree.
I'm going to go. Okay, well, we're running live. I'm just going to go down some footage of what we have going on.
So, right. So then she starts, they stand around for a little bit. She's, you know, talking to some people. Oops. So we're going to fast forward. Oh no. Give me 1 second. My slide is like crooked. Hang on. That's going to bother me if I don't fix it. Sorry about that. Okay. It would bother me if I didn't fix it.
We'll have this
Hey, Liza,
going
how are
in no
you?
time.
And
We're just waiting for just a few more people before we get started on this protest. And again, if you guys are in Graham, North Carolina, please consider coming out here and supporting this great cause. This great cause is for a 17-year-old child. Like I said, it could have been your child. It could have been your grandchild. And we're here raising our voices for this underserved person. We're going to be breaking more information down about this case, but it's not appropriate for right now. We're going to be giving some interviews. You guys will get a good perspective on why we are truly out here. It's not just for Daniela, it's for her family, seeking justice for her. And once again, not being treated appropriately or respectfully by law enforcement around here. And this is not a dig to law enforcement. We back Blue on this channel. We always have, because without them, we'll all be, you know, out there without protection. But at the end of the day, there are certain places that we come to that we just see things that we shouldn't. And there is a good old boy system, and we know that it still exists in this country, and it exists predominantly in these smaller towns. And this is, again, what we're dealing with. Unfortunately, I'm sure there are great law enforcement investigators working this case, but there's also one that says something like, if you don't calm down, I'll just close your case.
What? So she's alluding to the fact that a law enforcement officer told the family, if you don't calm down, I'll just close your case. That doesn't seem like even a bad cop would say. If you don't calm down, I'll just close your case.
Yeah, that's not going to cut it. That's not going to cut it. You don't treat taxpayers that way. You don't treat a family that's lost their child that way. And that's why we're here. And that's why we're going to be helping this family with everything that we have, Chronicles of Olivia and I, to seek justice for their beautiful daughter, Daniela, that was just simply waiting for a vehicle before she was killed. And the man that killed her is being slow walked through the justice system. They're worried that he's going to get a slap on the wrist. I can tell.
He's not being slow walked. And Chasing, correct me if I'm wrong. I had his next court date as November 6th. If that is the correct date, because I did look up upcoming court dates with his, Joshua Thomas Brown, and I saw November 6th at 9 a.m., which would not be slow walking because that's next week.
I can tell you from everything that I reviewed and heard so far, there's a lot of charges that they're not charging him with. And that is a concern for me. That is absolutely 100% a concern, because you kick a phone, that's tampering with evidence. You move something, that's tampering with evidence. Why would anybody get out of their car and kick a phone unless you're trying to show something else than what was really there?
No one would get out and kick a phone. I mean, somebody might. But I think that's the least of the worries, that there's a cell phone in the road.
There are skid marks in the grass. There are a lot of information going on. So guys, stick with us. Again, we're going to be advocating for Danielle.
There are skid marks in the grass. I mean, you could see where there was, tread marks going into the grass for sure.
Mendiola, and we want you guys here to support this great cause. If you guys have any information about Joshua Brown, it's the gentleman that was the one that was behind the wheel of the car that night, had bloodshot eyes, according to a witness, and they didn't make him submit to anything but possibly
Is it possible that he had bloodshot eyes because he had been crying because he realized he had hit a person, or that he was afraid that he might have hit a human being? I mean, usually when you cry, you also have bloodshot eyes. Did the witness smell alcohol on his breath? Those are the details, Betty, that you fail to care about or even talk about.
Little blow test on the side of the road.
Good point, Wise Mom. Where's that comment? Is the family worried, or is Betty making them worried? Now, based on what I've seen with the interview with the family, they are worried that they won't get justice for Daniela. And that was because no charges were going to be filed at the start of this. And then now there are. And it's unfortunate, but the laws are the laws. And, if they don't have the evidence to charge him, then they're not going to charge him with what they want.
A vehicular accident that had casualties. That's just inappropriate for me. The father there begging them to please take his blood alcohol, please take his blood and find out what he's on. And
so the dad was at the scene. Is that what she's saying? That the dad was at the scene and he was begging police to take or have him have a blood test?
They wouldn't do it. So does that have something to do with the law enforcement connection? I don't know, but we're going to look and try to find that information out.
All right, so that was just, she came back to the camera, and I think the next clip is when she's actually yelling.
As you guys heard, Daniela's life does matter. She was taken off this earth senselessly without cause. She was sitting in a driveway when she was ran over.
She was sitting in a driveway when she was ran over. Betty, for the love of chicken nuggets, she was not sitting in a driveway. She was, according to some, standing at the end of a driveway. According to law enforcement, she was standing in the middle of the road. Like, these are the details. Right, Chasing. That's what we saw the video. Unless he veered off the road, but I mean, and to me, it didn't appear that he was overly going fast. I mean, you know, I just went by what I saw. It didn't seem like he was, you know, flying like a bat out of hell, but the fact that she says that Daniela was sitting, like, that's a pretty crucial detail.
Over by a man that was most likely on substances. It appears through rumor that he has the
So at least she said it appears through rumor. Betty, I thought you only presented the facts. You only presented vetted factual information.
With law enforcement in this community. So we're going to be chanting here. Hey, hey, ho, ho. We want him locked up.
Well, he made bond. So that's why he's not locked up. Just like you, Betty. Right? You should be locked up, but you were able to bond out. So there you go.
What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. And when do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice.
Okay,
when do we want it? Now. Daniela's life matter. There's something going on here. Look at the park. They knew we were coming out of here, and this county shut down the park. So we're here on the sidewalk.
Okay, so this, I didn't see this part. So this is chasing. This must be where you had mentioned she said they shut down the park because they knew they were going to protest. Oh my God. So we're here on the sidewalk.
Sidewalk, which is where we want to be anyways. But they...
Oh. But so now we're on the sidewalk, which is where we want to be anyways. Well, then why are you complaining that a park is shut down? My God.
Shut the park down on Daniela. There's nothing wrong with this park. There's nothing. Why couldn't they have opened that? This just shows you the corruption in this town and how they're unwilling to help this young girl get justice. We understand that there are multiple crimes moreover than what they charged this man with. He kicked a cell phone off the road. That is obstruction.
Wow.
That's tampering with evidence. Why is he still out here free? They gave him a $50,000 bond on a death of that beautiful girl right there. She deserves justice. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now.
All right, so that was just that little part. And then I just have a couple more short clips from this, and I am at 1.5 hours, so we might skip a few. Oh no, I only have 2 left. Okay, perfect.
Okay. So what we just learned is that we can't use the bullhorn. Bullhorn Betty's been fired. I'm just joking. But we can't use the bullhorn. So we have an ordinance issue here. We can't block the sidewalk. That's okay. These people let them out. Gentlemen, I know seems understandable. So we're just going to comply. But I think what the gist of this is that this child suffered. Okay, that's the gist of this. This child suffered because she was hit. God knows what this man was on and what he did. Why he didn't render aid is beyond me, and why law enforcement thinks that this is okay, that a woman, a young girl, has suffered, be in a ditch and suffer. And that's where we're at right now. They're not doing enough for this girl. This is why the family is here. This is why we're seeking justice for Daniela, is she not only was doing the right thing, sitting there waiting, not having anything to do, but she was also suffering in that ditch. And that's something that could have been avoided with a simple call to 911. And still to this day, this man still never called 911 on that girl that he ran over like a rabid animal.
And to compare a human with a rabid animal is also uncalled for. Uncalled for. And Betty thinks that this man should have called 911 even after returning to the scene, talking, being cooperative with police. Yes, he left the scene, but he came back. He came back.
So what do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. You guys pay taxes. You pay taxes for services. This county owes this family a real investigation. This county owes this family justice. This county owes this man to be held accountable for his ruthless actions. This is a man that's been known to criminally violate traffic laws. That means he's had to be pulled over multiple times, going over in the excess of 15 miles an hour to make it criminal. He was known for doing this, and they didn't do more before it got to this point, and now we're here, and a girl is dead, and she suffered for 43 minutes. What do we want? Justice.
And so that's where she talks about, she keeps mentioning suffering, and why would one want to be reminded that their loved one was in that situation? And I don't know where she got the 43 minutes, because according to state police, Mr. Brown returned to the scene 15 minutes later. So I'm not sure where she's getting that Daniela was still alive for 43 minutes. I don't know where she's getting that from.
When do we want it?
Yeah, I don't know crime scene photo.
Justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. When do we want?
Hey, Carrie, how are you? And I do see all of you. Thank you so much for being here. I'm seeing your comments, but I'm not able to get to all of them. Kim, I feel like she already knows. I mean, if she got to the court website, she probably already knows. None of her yelling is actually effective for the case. All she's doing is playing on a grieving family's emotion. Agree. And, I don't know. And I haven't seen all of Olivia's TikToks, but I know she has a couple. The one I watched, it's Justice for Daniela. Daniela. But, I'm not sure what Betty thinks she can do here. I mean, the man's already been arrested. He, turned himself in. There's not anything else that can be done. I mean, he'll see his day in court, and unfortunately, they can't bring Daniela back.
Guys. All right, guys. So the mom just got here, and we're still out here. We're trying to fight and advocate for Daniela Mendiola, and we just heard from a witness that was there that night, and they said that the man that hit her, when he came back, he was kicking her phone. He showed no remorse whatsoever. He was just kind of, whatever. And that's really, really bad, because
that's interesting. And I know he got there before the state police did, but I'd be curious to see what his reactions were when talking to police, once they got there, to see how he was acting on body cam. Because I would assume if he was acting that way prior, he would be acting that way during.
Because she described how Daniela was seen.
And I believe this is where she, trigger warning, I think this is where she says it. Another description that should have been left unsaid. But I don't know why Betty does this, if she thinks that it's going to have her audience, praise her more because she's here. But I think this is where she talks about how Daniela was found.
In that ditch, and I'm sorry if I would have seen that. I don't know if I could not have showed some type of emotion. And they're sitting there with this girl dying in the ditch, and nobody's doing anything to really help her. And I think that's,
that's a pretty strong accusation as well, Betty. And it's really sad to say, but maybe they couldn't help her. Maybe they tried and they weren't able to.
One of the issues here is they did nothing except let her die. And she suffered. And this man is able to put his head down on his pillow. Now, I do believe that everybody is innocent until they're found guilty by a court of law.
Oh, how she changes her tune. Now she's saying everyone is innocent until they're found guilty by a court of law. She changed her opinion quickly, didn't she? Or is she just saying it because she's in front of several people?
But you have to accuse somebody to get to that point, to be offered that right. And they're not accusing him of all the crimes that I feel that he committed that night. The minute he moved that phone, the minute he kicked that phone, he kicked it once, he kicked it twice, he kicked it 3 times, moving it out of the way. The more he kicked it, every time he kicked it, that was tampering with evidence, in my opinion. That was tampering with evidence.
So now he didn't just kick it once, he kicked it 3 times. I mean, the story just keeps evolving.
Why he's not being charged with these, I don't know. So
because it didn't happen.
We've got a lot of people out here that are really standing strong for this young girl. She was beautiful. She had a right to life. She had a right to live. She had a right to stand out on a driveway waiting for a ride and not be completely ran over and just destroyed her whole life. Not only that, her life is gone, but it's the wake. We just talked to her sister. The wake.
Yeah, curious. What evidence? I mean, Sheba Mom, I mean, she's acting like she was there, right? She wasn't there. And as a reminder, this happened on August 20th, 2024. An arrest was made and charges were filed on September 5th. I'm not really sure why she feels the need to be here.
Of what this did to her family, her friends. This community is missing a beautiful soul, and the only people that care about it are her family and friends. And it sounds like law enforcement I don't know if free pass would be the appropriate word for it, but may not be applying all the justice necessary. And it took an act, it took a protest to get them to even arrest the guy. It took Olivia coming out here with the family for them to even go out there and make the arrest. Can you imagine your child laying in a ditch because somebody ran off the road, ran them over like a lawnmower, and kept on going, and then decides to turn around and come back and still doesn't render aid? Watching a human being in a very horrible condition, and sitting there and kicking her phone off the road. No remorse, no empathy, no sympathy, no cognitive thought about what this person just did to another living human being. Something's not right here, and I pray that this.
The only thing that's not right there is Betty. That's the only thing that's not right.
County steps up to the plate and does the right thing and charges this man with everything he did. Everything he did, from driving under the influence, leaving the scene of a crime, and moving evidence, clearly moving evidence. That is something we just can't stand for here in this community, and somebody needs to stand up and fight. So Chronicles of Olivia are here, and I are here with this family to help support their goal of making sure that this man, Joshua Brown, 38-year-old, sounds like he's living at home with mommy and daddy and not having to take responsibility for his life. He needs to be held accountable for this. This is what matters here. Even if he wasn't held accountable by mommy and daddy during his upbringing, he needs to be held accountable here. He needs to be held accountable for this one.
All right, so that was it for her protest that I clipped. A lot of the rest of it, she was talking to some of the other participants and just kind of standing in the camera. This lady caught his mayhem anywhere. Oh, causes mayhem anywhere she goes in a rent-a-car begging for money. Well, she keeps renting a car every week. Sounds like she needs money to me. And I mean, she should be saving her money. But I guess she's just hoping that, you know, the GoFundMe, that she'll get other people's money in order to, you know, she can spend the money she has, but, you know, they can provide the money for her appeals. I agree, love. It's dangerous for Betty to be making all these extra assumptions. Absolutely. Yeah, not everyone knows how to render CPR. And that's one thing that I try to get my, you know, my little paper for. I try to renew it every year. And I did see, let me see if I can find that comment. I think it was from Kanuga right here. I'm behind. If BHB comes to Swananoa, I may have to go down the road and meet her face to face. Please don't do that. Take opportunities when they present, right? I mean, she may not even show up to Swananoa, but that's what she said she was going to do. Hey, Tracy. Betty turns every case into a circus. I'm curious if she's asked permission to leave the state. Typically on bond, you can't. That's what somebody else had said earlier. That I don't know. I don't know. So, Corinne, why are they involved in this case now? I think Olivia, I'd have to look at the dates, but she has had a few TikToks on it. So she may have been looking into it, you know, prior to this, because I think she lives around that area somewhere. And then I guess Betty just saw it as an opportunity, you know, to exploit another family. I agree, Curious. No real journalist would get away with it. I guess that's why she refers to herself as alternative media. Yeah, SG, exactly. That's exactly what will happen. Her subs will believe it and be angry at the driver and first responders. Yeah. Hey, Happy Watcher. Oh, the time change this coming Saturday? Oh, yeah, I guess it is because today's already the 28th. Yep. Well, that's good because it gets dark way too early. Hey, Lisa. Hope all is well. Unsocial Butterfly, thanks for being here. Right, Remy. He'll be accountable to what the law allows. I agree. Right, JD? Her and Olivia are the reason they arrested him, right? Even though she's almost, 2 months past the date that he was arrested. Yeah, Tracy, I hope she doesn't do that. When is her next court date? Isn't for a couple weeks, right? So she'll probably be skulking around there somewhere. Crime scene. I don't think her car has like completely been run into the ground, but I think that it's not safe to drive. So I know at least when she went to Tennessee the last time, she rented a car, which is probably, a good decision. Yeah, Michelle, I agree. I mean, Olivia is really talented. I mean, she's done some shady stuff for sure. But I mean, but maybe Betty just invites herself. We don't know. She might just say, "Hey, I'm coming to visit you." And then she shows up. Online panhandler. That's a good way to describe her, Kimberly. Pretends to be investigative journalist and press. She said, yeah, she did say she was at a hotel, but it's the same room we saw the last time she was Olivia's. And it didn't look like, I mean, I didn't know. When I first started watching, I was like, oh, I wonder whose house she's at. And then she said that, the internet at the hotel wasn't the greatest. And I was like, you're not at a hotel. Hotels aren't that nice. I mean, some of them are, but. I was certified in CPR years ago, and even after going through training, it is overwhelming when you're faced with a situation that you need to do it. Honestly, it's terrifying, and I initially froze. Yeah, Kanuga, I hope, wherever you are, that things are on the up. It was devastating what happened in, North Carolina. Oh, no. What did I click on? Oh, my gosh. What is happening here? A window just opened on my browser. Oh, I thought Alabama had decided to stop with the time changes, but we are still doing that nonsense too. Yeah. I mean, it'll be nice to, not wake up in the dark, but now I'll be coming home from work in the dark. So it doesn't really change things. Oh, November 20th. Okay. So that's like 3 weeks. Maybe, Lisa. All right. So let's see. Hey, B. She reminds me of what was referred to years ago as an ambulance chaser. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I feel like, just, I mean, about her charges in Tennessee, I feel like, she needs to serve some time in jail. Just being defiant and accusing the judge of corruption, talking about this criminal enterprise that people are paying people off and that, they lied under oath. They should be the ones in jail, not her. It's just like, just admit you were wrong, and maybe she's moving on. But unfortunately, that means that another family is going to, be, I don't know the right word. She's going to exploit them too. Crime scene. I did look to see if there was any news clips from yesterday. I couldn't find any, but there was definitely media there. I just wasn't able to find any before the live. All right, everyone. Well, I'm going to wrap this up because I'm almost at my 2 hours, and I appreciate everyone being here. Thank you again to Deborah and Lisa for being members. I appreciate that. And I do plan on doing a live tomorrow, a case live. So I will be looking at some other stories that I haven't gotten to. And if you have any stories that you want me to cover, feel free to email me at headstonesandheadlines@gmail.com. And I will take a look into it. Thanks, Kimberly. I appreciate that. Cool, sweet one. All right, everyone. Well, I hope you have a great rest of your night. And if I don't see you on these YouTube streets, I will see you all on the flip side.
I got the juice like a snow cone. Ice in my veins and a cold flow. I'm getting cash overseas by the boatload. You wanna ride my wave? That's a no-go. Senorita's going loco. Make it bounce like a pogo. All my haters see rojo. They big mad cause they coming up short like Frodo. Activate the beast mode. I keep it hot, give your brain a heat stroke. You ain't a big shot, you some basic B-roll. The world is mine like my name's Pacino. Hey, it's Nico, I guess I'm back. Catch me in the fast lane on the right track. And my shorty is a 10 like a dime bag. Got me feeling like a millie, check the price tag. Got the party jumping like crisscross. Got the gold chain and the wristwatch. Pull up on the scene like a big shot. EDM and hip hop, ain't no time for pit stop. Got the party jumping like crisscross. Got the gold chain and the wristwatch. Pull up on the scene like a big shot. EDM and hip hop, it's my style. No time for daydreams. All my brothers get money, we call it gangrene. Just another day, but our focus still on the same thing. Us against everyone else, I recommend you change teams. Who the hottest in the city? We the top two. You said your music was litty, but that is not true. Just being honest, you should really just stop, fool. Matter of fact, empty no pockets, give me that watch too. My mind is wicked, that's why I spit it so hostile. Freaky girls in the crib, it's like I live in a brothel. All I spit is Leviticus, but I'm not an apostle. My nuts hang low, long and they colossal. Black trader black, she messiah to the misfits. Run circles, run these rappers to my shit splits. You a little late to the party, baby, I been lit. If you ain't on the friend list, you better mind your business. Got the party jumping like crisscross. Got the gold chain and the wristwatch. Pull up on the scene like a big shot. EDM and hip hop, ain't no time for pit stop. Got the party jumping like crisscross. Got the gold chain and the wristwatch. Pull up on the scene like a big shot.